Go deeper.
What's up, y'all, and welcome back to the Go Deeper podcast. In this episode, we're going to continue on our Ultimatum review. We're going to be talking about episodes 4 through 6. I'm not going to lie, we already tried to record this and it ended up being like 2 hours, and we got to cut straight to the basics because that was too much information. We was getting confused. So what we decided to do is we're just going to talk about each couple, or each, I guess, new couple now, and their like flow or transition from episode 4 to episode 6. So do you have any couple in particular that you want to start with?
Let's do Ryan and
Trey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good ones. Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and start off with Ryan and Trey. So to kind of start off with episode 4 in the episode, is that when they go on the boat date? It is.
Yeah.
So they go on the boat date, and basically Trey expresses his feelings for her after knowing her for 2 minutes, which that's why I say he's a simp and he's so annoying. And he's like,
Go ahead.
He's like, I think I've developed emotional feelings for you.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, Trey.
And she's just smiling through it all. And it's like, what do you think? So right now you think Trey, like, you still have your perception of how he was episode 1, he's going to give anybody a chance?
He's a simp. Anybody who shows him any sort of attention or acts like they like him because he's insecure. We learned he was insecure about the way that he looks. He's just going to get anybody who shows him attention, he's going to fall for. And that's just what it is. So he has fallen for this girl, Ryan. And I think Ryan views him like, she likes him. She's cool. The experience. She's having a good time in the experience. I think she sees it more as like a friendship. I don't know how romantically she looks at him, because even when he's saying these things, she's not saying these. Yeah, she's not saying it back to him.
She's just smiling and saying it's okay to be open. And he's just like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm catching feelings. And she's just like, okay, it's like, I understand. And she just tries to constantly tell him, I relate to you. Like, we're kind of the same. So I understand why, like, you would feel like a lot of these things that are absent in your relationship with Ryan, because it's absent in my relationship with James, is how she would put it. But so in that next episode, what were they how was their vibe?
So in the next episode, so it's weird. We don't see either of them meet each other's parents like we do. So
that's my thing. I was like, why don't you think that was? I thought it was something to do with like maybe interracial relations. Maybe Ryan's parents ain't vibing, Trey's parents ain't vibing, but who knows? But I also feel like maybe they were like not as open to the experience because it's like Ryan's been with somebody for 7 years, so maybe they're like, we're not gonna entertain this nonsense show that you're. Maybe they feel loyal. They might feel loyal to James. Yeah, and they're probably real close with James. So they're like, we're not gonna do this. But she was able to. Her brother came with his girlfriend, so that's who that was. Trey. And how do you feel that encounter went?
I mean, that was a good interaction. I feel like they, you could tell how much they like really, love Ryan. And the girlfriend was saying like, if you end up with Ryan, it's the best thing ever. She's a wonderful, generous, happy person. And that's really how I feel about Ryan. I feel like she's just a person that's easy to get along with. She's just like a very likable, friendly white girl. And I think that Trey is confusing that for like some sort of romantic dynamic that I think does not exist between them really.
I mean, but my guy had like but my guy.
But I do think, go ahead.
No, I'm saying my guy, he has his money, like a girl that relates to him. He's never had a girl that relates to him. So for like you always say, there is that person for me. So that's probably just what he's thinking. He's like, dang, it's just opening up his mind. Like, dang, me and Raya don't relate, but me and her, like, we have a lot in common. So it's like, why not? Like, she's cute. We have a lot in common. Like, why not be open to it? But
and I think he's seeing it as like, oh, I'm seeing something new, something different than what I had, and I'm falling for this person. I feel like Ryan is seeing it as like, oh, it's something new. Maybe I do want something new, but I don't think she's thinking specifically with Trey. I think she's just seeing like, oh, there's somebody, I can find somebody who maybe I relate to on a deeper level and wants marriage and wants these things, but I don't necessarily think that she like wants to be romantically involved with Trey.
Yeah, so that's how I feel. And so the girlfriend is grilling, like, it's kind of not grilling them, but she's the one really talking. It looks like she has a good relationship with Ryan, but she's like, the brother asks, do you see yourself leaving him? And she's just like, yeah, I'm ready to walk away. I was saying that the brother was asking, do you see yourself leaving James? And she's like,
Yeah.
yes, so. It's like, I even feel bad that I have to ask for an ultimatum. And basically the girlfriend's just being like, Ryan's the nicest person ever. Whoever gets her is lucky, basically. And it's like, why hasn't James proposed by now? He should have been proposed. Is how the girlfriend's coming.
Yeah, she was like, it's almost disrespectful that he hasn't proposed to you in the 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
But like honestly, following the rest of their story through episode 6 is pretty boring because they're having a good time, they're having fun, like all the way through until they kind of their last day together. Whenever she's like, we've never had a fight, so let's just have like a little fun. Like she bought little boxing gloves.
Yeah.
And they had like a little pretend fight. And then you could tell, especially in that moment, how into her he was, because that's when he was like, are you gonna leave our photos up? And she was like, I don't know if James would appreciate that.
About it. She was like, he was like, do you think we should still like stay together? I mean, should we still like text each other and maybe
hang out?
I'm like,
sir.
He's like, do you think we could hang out? Like maybe like if I could send you a text and we go hang out. She's like, let me see how things go.
Yeah. So we'll see how that relationship plays out. I mean, I think that I could see her and Trey like after the show like remaining friends. They grew up in the same area. They have the same interests. I could see them being friends. I just think even if she doesn't stay with James, which I honestly think if James proposes, she's gonna say yes because there's the history there. But even if she doesn't propose and she walks away, she's not going to walk away with Trey. I don't think that's what it's going to be. And I think that also Trey is just like one of those people, like you get so used to being around somebody, you're just going to catch feelings. I think as soon as he goes back to Raya and they actually start working on things, he's going to be like, oh yeah, I want to be with Raya. But we'll see. Yeah, but speaking of Raya, let's go into Raya and James's experiments, which theirs kind of suck. I'll let you kind of lead this and I'll.
So are we gonna kind of talk about everybody's situation through 6 and then talk about like the bar scene and Choice at the end? Or because we don't even talk about the bar scene with Trey, like, and James. Like,
well, let's talk about it in this clip because we're going to talk about James because the issue is more coming from James's end, not Trey's end.
Okay, got you. So with James and Raya in episode 4, I finally see the tub scene, and it's like in that tub scene, you're like, okay,
it's like a pool,
pool,
hot tub thing,
hot tub or whatever. But their vibing is like he's doing something romantic, and she's like, okay, like this is nice. I don't get these things, but he's commenting on her body, saying she's hot and everything. Like you said, you feel like he just wants to have sex with her at this point. You're saying he's trying to have sex with her, but I mean. Didn't it go cold?
He just made it seem like they were gonna have an intimate connection, like he's attracted to her, he's gonna try and make this work. And then he just like the next time we see them together, it's like he's shut down completely. Yeah. And so they're kind of they have a scene where they're in the room and she's just like, you don't want to hold my hand, you don't want to touch me, you don't want to hug me, like you don't really talk to me. Like, what's going on?
And this is where you say we see the change of Raya as far as like the real her. And I still feel like she was calm. She wasn't yelling at him or anything. She was just like, okay.
I just didn't like the begging aspect. Like, oh, you don't want to hold my hand? Why don't you want to hold my hand? You should want to hold my hand. You don't want to hug me? I guess I'll hug myself. You don't want to... I was like, okay, he's already told you like he doesn't want to do it. Like, let's just not beg. It's just like not cute.
And for her, she's just feeling like, dang, you're ruining my experience. So I need answers. Like, what's going on? And it's like, we don't know if they're leaving stuff out, but it was just good in the tub scene, and then it just went left real quick. So something happened in between that to just be like that. But you were feeling like in that apartment scene, he was just trying to kind of like hook up with her. Like,
well, he's basically like all or nothing. He's like marriage. He's like marriage to me is not about holding hands. It's about like waking up naked with my partner and taking showers together and stuff like that. So it's like. I just don't understand how do you skip all of the other intimacy things and go straight to like being naked together. It's like, and she made it very clear, like, I'm not saying we have to have sex. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying like some intimacy, we're supposed to be in a trial marriage. Like, and it's not like you weren't already holding my hands. There were scenes where we were holding hands together and doing that. So now all of a sudden it's like, you're totally against it. And she's just like very confused by the whole situation. So then kind of later on, all the guys get together and all the girls get together. We'll talk about some of those important conversations as we get to the couples. But James and Trey end up kind of having a conversation where James like randomly is like, yeah, you know, me and Raya talked about like having sex and stuff, and she's open to it. And I was like, I literally, when he said that, I rewound back. I was like, that is not how that conversation happened. Like, I'm so confused.
Maybe they left something out, but nah.
Maybe.
He just like I feel like he was just trying to stir something up right there. Was that after Trey had talked about his girl? That was after Trey had talked about Ryan, or no?
I don't know. But
I feel like he felt the way, and that's why he said that. He was like, "Oh, you're bonding my girl. Let me just say this." And then what did Trey say? He was like, "Nah."
Trey was like, "Oh, really?" Because Raya called me last night crying because she said she thinks you want to have sex with her, or she thinks that you think she wants to have sex with you, and that's not the case. And that literally shut James down. He was just like, "Oh."
There's their stuff up with that, but
there's no reason for him to lie. I just don't understand that.
Yeah, but basically that whole from like 4 or 5 and like 6, he's basically closed off to this experience, and that's what's like. I think like he realized early, like, dang, I could lose my girl, and you see at a certain point in episode 6, he's like, geez, like I could, like you could get any girl. I mean, you can get any guy you want. And it's like he just realized that, and it's like I feel like when he found out, like, oh, I could lose my girl, he shut down the whole experience. Didn't want to take anything from Raya. Didn't want to get physical with her. Like started off that way, but it clicked real fast. Like nah, like I ain't gonna do this. But
yeah,
what else happened with them in their story? It was just a lot of begging.
It's just a lot of like her trying to figure out like why are you not communicating. So then as you're getting to the end, and like you said, we'll talk about like the actual very end scene at the very end, like before they go back to their original partner. But on one of the last days, James and Raya have a conversation, and she's just like, you know, I feel like you kind of ruined my experience. And he was like, I do apologize for that. I do see that. I do see how that's unfair to you. And she said, I know there's something you said you wanted to talk about or something you were holding in. Do you want to talk about it now? And he's like, I'd rather keep it to myself. And I'm like, I want to know, there is something going on with him. There's a reason why he shut down. There's something going on that they're like not sharing with us yet. And I just go ahead.
No, he said earlier on in the season that he cheated on Ryan. I don't know if Ryan
and I
knows
missed that.
Yeah, I don't know what else it was, but he was like, I don't know who he was venting to, but he was like, look, I've cheated on Ryan before. And it's like, I was like, maybe Ryan, I was thinking maybe something Ryan knows about it. And like, but I feel like it is something for sure. And it was like, I don't know why he doesn't want to say it. So it was like,
no.
But he did say, he was like, whoever he was, I think he was telling Trey, he was like, I'm gonna talk to her at the end and hop on one knee, and whether she takes it back or not, she deserves to know the truth. So I think he's gonna tell her at the end or whatever, if he doesn't tell her before then. But
yeah, so I'll be interested to see like what he says and like what happened with that. But that's kind of where they left us, and so now we can go into, let's talk about Kat, and no, let's do Kat. Let's leave Roxanne for the end. Let's talk about Kat and Antonio. So it's kind of a similar situation where it's like Antonio's not really open to the experiment. He's so concerned with what's going on with Roxanne. He's not really like open to like trying to develop or just see what's different in a relationship with Kat, which I think would be good for him because he's coming from Roxanne, who's like so extreme and very sociable and loud and whatever, to someone who's a little bit more quiet, a little bit more tamed. He might, if he would have actually tried to have a relationship with her, he might have seen that he likes that characteristic, maybe.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, I'm saying, but that you, how do you feel now? Because you with Antonio, you said Antonio was the person you would.
Oh, he's trash.
Do this experience with. What made him trash now? We know he had that picnic scene, and in that picnic scene in episode 4, he was basically saying that like he wants to do things for Kat, and like, or no, he said he feels selfish. And why does he feel selfish? Because he can't do these things for Kat or whatever. And
for Roxanne.
For Roxanne or whatever. And she, like, we talked about his finances. You felt like he was all the way together or almost there, but my boy said she wants to go tickets to games and dinner, and by the time we do all that, it's $500, and that's 35% of my monthly income. I was like, Bert, I thought you was almost there. So I did 30. I did what's 35% of 1,500? I was like, that's about 500. Between 15 and 1,400, that's about 500. So my guy's probably making like 1,500 to 2,000 a month, and that's what he's claiming. Oh, I'm almost good enough to take care of the whole house. You was about to set yourself with that.
Yeah. So yeah, he made it very clear he's broke. He's a broke boy, which wasn't very clear in the very beginning. And also, I really do think so. Let's actually move on. So a lot of the drama in the episodes for Antonio was his interactions with Alex, who is currently partnered with Roxanne. So we can talk about. So they have the guys' night, which we discussed. And Antonio, it just starts like grilling Alex, like, how are you and Roxanne doing? What does Roxanne say about me? Like, specifically, what does she say? Like, give me specific words. Like, what is, just like, that made me not like Antonio for a second, because I was like, bro, relax. Like, they're supposed to be having this experience. Why are you all in their business like that? Like, and Alex is not asking you about Kat, so why are you grilling him about Roxanne? I don't understand that.
And he at that point, he's like, he's talking about, or no, I don't know if that's one-on-one, but he was talking about, like, I don't even sleep in the bed with her. He's like, you need to sleep in the bed with her. Like, why aren't you sleeping in the bed with her? So it's like, for him, he's just closed off. Antonio's just closed off, and he's just worried about his girl and just constantly grilling Alex. And Alex is being slick. He's not giving him the answers that he's looking for. He's beating around the bush, and that's pissing Antonio off more. So like, I understand Antonio to a certain extent, but he's not even worried about the experience. He's just worried about his girl at this point, and is pressed on it.
Yeah. So then they have a one-on-one conversation, and again, Antonio's like, what is she saying about me? What's going on? And Alex is like, she doesn't respect you, bro. And he was like, what do you mean she doesn't respect me? Like, give me specific. What did she say? What did she say? And he's like, you're basically her whipping boy. Like, that's just what it is. He's like, I know she didn't say that. Give me specific words. Which I'm like, that's where I was like, also, Antonio, you have a little screw loose. Like, you're being crazy. You're giving crazy right now. You're giving, like, you need therapy. You need something. But so at that point, I'm really thinking Roxanne said this. I'm really thinking Roxanne is playing him for real.
Yeah. I'm thinking the same thing too. No, I'm also thinking, because we'll get to Roxanne, but I'm thinking that he's trying to sabotage the relationship to run off of Roxanne, because him and Roxanne are good up until this point. Him and Roxanne meet the parents, and good. So it's like, but we're on Antonio. So like Antonio, at this point, we're thinking like, okay, maybe Alex is just trying to sabotage so he can run off of Roxanne. But
so the crazy thing is, like, we don't see, unless I miss this, we don't see Alex or Kat meet each other's friends or family, do we?
No, same thing with I don't think we saw Ryan meet Trey's peoples.
Yeah. So anyway, so after that guys' night, like, Antonio is like super, super worked up, and he kind of goes back to the house, and he's talking to Kat about Alex, who is her partner, her ex in the moment. But he's basically like, Alex is full of shit. Like, he's just a liar. And Kat's like, whoa, like, I get that you're upset, but that's still my man at the end of the day. Like, watch him out. She's not talking like that, but she's like, okay, don't say that. Don't call him names. Like, relax.
Like, don't call him a shit.
He is not a shithead.
He is not a shit. But she's trying to back up her man. Like, and then because Kat tells Antonio that, oh, I got a text. I think something you should know. Oh, this is later.
No. This is not a conversation.
Oh yeah,
this is in that
conversation. Yeah, she says, I got a text from Alex, from whose mom? Alex's mom, saying Roxanne's trying to leave his guy, and then she's like,
she said that that she doesn't respect. It was along the same things. Like, she doesn't respect you. She doesn't really want to be with you.
She also told him she's trying to leave his guy. Like, she's trying to leave his guy, basically. And then Alex was like, or Antonio was like, no, why would she say that? And he was like, why would they lie? Like, they know, like, why would they lie?
And he was like, basically they're a whole family of liars. And
they're lying
Alex,
too,
yeah.
But no, he's emotional the whole, like, the last 2 episodes, like, I was emotional with Kat, not trying to, and emotional in that sense. But
So
Yeah.
he's feeling worked up. He calls Roxanne, and I said this before, but I don't think in the show you should be allowed to contact your ex in these 3 weeks. Like you shouldn't just be able. You could just call them or text them. That kind of defeats the whole purpose if you're still maintaining a relationship with them. But he calls Roxanne, and he's like, "Why? This is being said. Why is this being said?" And she's basically like, "That's not true. Come over right now so we can talk face to face." Click, hangs up on him. And this is where I was like, "Oh yeah, he's a whipping boy." Because what does he do after she says that?
My boy runs down the staircase and runs down. I gotta run about 30 minutes. I'm coming. My God, was
sprinting to Roxanne.
Crying,
So before we talk about Roxanne, that interaction between Roxanne and Antonio, let's talk about Roxanne and Alex's situation from episode 4 to 6.
Okay.
So it kind of starts off, they meet each other's parents, right?
Yeah.
It was a really good interaction for Roxanne to meet Alex's parents because they're both business-minded entrepreneurs and they have a strong marriage and a strong relationship that they value. And I think she hasn't seen that type of thing before. She always thought marriage would be a distraction. So I thought it was good for her to see that marriage can help you be successful, even though her parents are married and successful. So I don't know, but
go ahead. But yeah, and that interaction with the parents.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the interaction with the parents were like cool. They were just trying to like, Alex's parents was like, do you think you can handle somebody like Alex or whatever? Or no, that was Roxanne's parents. But no, Alex's parents were the dad was basically like, how was Alex's dad? I'm not thinking like, how's Alex's dad?
He was funny. He was like joking around. That's like, I thought it was a chill conversation.
Yeah, but basically Roxanne was saying he's changed my view about marriage and things like that, and like they see how he is and how they are, so it gives them kind of hope, and like the whole episode 4 and 5 looked like they were vibing the whole time. Everything was good, like there was no issues meeting the parents. The parents were cool with Roxanne from what we saw. But then switch over to them meeting Roxanne's parents and Alex is there. How did you feel about that vibe?
Roxanne's parents are cool. Like I thought that they dropped some knowledge on them. Like it wasn't crazy. Like the dad just wants to make sure that she's gonna end up with somebody who's going to give her the things that she wants. So he does ask the questions like, Roxanne likes people who open the car door for her, who do this, and he's just making sure that Alex is doing these things. That becomes an issue because Alex says he does do those things, and we learn later that he does not do those things.
He does not do those.
But it was interesting in that conversation to see that, like, while Roxanne is very business-minded entrepreneur, she does also still want the romantic gestures. She just wants them in her time when she has time for it, and that sort of thing. So it was interesting to see that. We can fast forward. Go ahead.
No, I said same with me. That's how I be in our relationship. I want on my own time, and you don't like that. But
it's like you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't be like, I want to live this life. I'm independent. I'm working outside.
It's for work. It's for work.
It was for work. So then the next interesting scene we see is Roxanne at the girls' night. And she and Kat are kind of talking about what their experiences have been. And I'll let you explain this because I know I got confused when I first watched it and I had to watch it twice. So go ahead and tell them about this interaction.
So with Kat and Roxanne dogging Alex. It's not
dogging Alex.
Where all the girls were together.
Wash your hands.
Oh yeah, when all the girls were together before Roxanne and Kat had their individual one-on-one conversation. They're basically talking about how it's been, and Kat was basically saying Antonio likes, what does he like? What type of stuff did they say he likes?
Oh, he likes like what do you call it? Like dang it, not paranormal. What am I trying to think? Conspiracy theories.
Yeah. I think it was like paranormal stuff too, or whatever. But Roxanne, this is the only part where she was like negative. She was like, yeah, I don't like any of that shit. I don't like, you like that stuff? I don't like it. And she's like, I like that he cares. Kat's like, I like that he cares about it and he wants to share, how passionate about sharing it. But Roxanne was like, I don't. But fast forward to them talking about, and Kat's basically telling Roxanne he's not open to he doesn't seem open to the experience or whatever. But fast forward to the one-on-one conversation, Roxanne's dogging Alex, basically saying like you shouldn't be like, you deserve to be with somebody better. And she's like asking why, and she's like, he doesn't open the door.
He's a liar.
No, he's a liar. She said he's a liar. He lies a lot. And she was like, what kind of things does he lie about? He told my parents that he opens the door and he does not do that. And so
she was saying like he'll say he's in meetings all day and then he's just downstairs sitting on the couch.
Yeah,
like,
sitting on the couch sleeping. And then she was like, he looks like he doesn't like appreciate a woman, or however she was saying it, like he doesn't like value a woman or appreciate her. Mm-hmm. And I was asking Kat, like, when you come home like at 2 a.m. or when you come home late, does he wait up for you? And it's like, because he told me he goes to sleep or whatever. And she was like, yeah. At late hours, and yeah, he does it. He's already asleep. And she was like, because Antonio set an alarm clock for me, like to make sure I get home or whatever, or to wait for him to be up when I get home or something.
Whipping boy.
And that's why, and that's the thing. That's the thing I think about with Roxanne. I think she likes somebody like Antonio in the sense where I could still control. Like, I want to be able to control you, but I also want you to be on your shit. Like, I want you to be on your shit. And
yeah, but I want you to die for me at the same time.
Yeah, and it's like I feel like she's also drained and tired from him, because we didn't really talk about at the picnic. Antonio opened up. He kind of was enduring opened up an experience in that sense. Opened up to Kat basically saying that I used to do drugs for 6 years, or I'd be high for 6 years and just not doing well. So like I'm just not doing better, and I'm sure that exhausted her to the point where put in this position to control, because she's probably constantly telling him, get your shit together, get your shit together, get your shit together. But that's how the conversation went on the one-on-one.
But the one thing I told you, the thing that made me be like, Roxanne's kind of a bitch. Like, she didn't need to say that, because she was like, I told Alex I was hooking up. I was open to all this stuff. And then she was like, and then they were like, well, do you think he would? And she was like, oh, yeah, 100%. If I told him I wanted to do it, like 100%. I was like, okay, like, how do you go from dogging him out to then being like, but if I wanted to have sex with him, I could? I was like, I just don't understand why you felt the need to say that. Like, what did that do for you?
She went from they were good, even with the girls talking like that. It made sense when she said that. She's like, oh yeah, like I feel like if I want to have sex, he would. They were still good at that point, and then it changed to dogging him out. That's why I was like, why'd you say that then, or whatever. Yeah. But that happened. That was how that conversation went, and then fast forward with Roxanne and Alex.
So we'll fast forward to like after. So we already talked about the guys' night. So people come home from the guys' night. That's whenever Antonio and Kat have the conversation where Antonio is saying that Alex isn't shit, and then he calls Roxanne. So he sprints over to Roxanne, right? Yeah. Before he gets to Roxanne and Alex have a conversation. Yeah. Where she's like, did you say that I said he was my whipping boy? Did you tell him that I don't respect him? Why the fuck would you say that? She was like, I never said those words. Did I ever say those words to you? And in my mind, I'm still
thinking, before all that, right? Remember,
watch it. You're making yourself glitch.
Sorry, before all that, remember, he came in the apartment acting. She was asking him how was the night. She was trying to gauge where he was, like how he was gonna take it. And my boy was saying, "Oh, it was a good night. Like nothing happened. Cool." And that's what she
actually had a really good time.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh, so you didn't say like I don't respect Antonio, but continue." That was like how he tried to play it off like nothing happened after stirring up all the BS.
I'm telling you, I think he's literally an agent of chaos. He wants to watch the world burn around him and just be like, it is what it is. Like I caused this, but it's fine.
And up until
I'll do it again.
Up until episode 6, I was like, okay, Alex has sense because the dates were good vibes, and he's on this as far as career wise. I was like, and he still valued marriage when it was around his parents and around her parents. He sounded like marriage was important to him at the same time. But
yeah, he's like a master manipulator.
He's not
master manipulator.
I'm not like that, but yeah. So continue on with Roxanne and
so Alex. They have the conversation, and he's basically like, she's like, did I ever say that? And he's like, that's how you act, like behind closed doors. And she's like, did I ever say that? And he's like, no. He's like, no, I said that. And she's like, but why would you say that? She was like, I thought this like this is a trial marriage. I'm supposed to be talking to you. You're supposed to be my husband, my partner at this time. And I'm just telling you the things I'm missing in my relationship, not to shit talk him, just to be open to the experience and talk about what I'm missing to see if I got something I can get from you or get from another relationship. And you're using it to basically piss off my ex or to try and start shit. I don't understand why you're doing that.
Yeah.
And he's just like basically he's like, I said what I said.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Yeah. And I know he said some things to piss her off in those moments.
He told her she needs to stay in her place.
Yeah. He did. He said, I think she tried to be like, because I guess they took it from there about that to basically.
So she started talking about other things that he doesn't do, like, hey, we agree that we're going to clean on Sundays. Why am I the only person cleaning? When I'm bringing in groceries, you're not helping. And he's like, I do what I want when I want.
Yeah.
And I'm a grown man. I can decide when I don't want to do stuff.
Exactly.
So I now see he don't want somebody like Roxanne, because even when he starts talking about Roxanne, I don't know if you noticed in the conversation with Antonio, he was like, Roxanne's cool in short bursts. Like, she's cool a little at a time, but all of that is a little too much.
Much for him. He likes Cat.
He likes Cat because he wants somebody he can walk all over. He wants somebody who he can watch them clean and be like, yeah, I'm not going to help. I'm not going to do that. Dude, like, I don't want to do anything. I do what I want. So he needs somebody who's kind of submissive and who's not going to push back. What
did he say that made Roxanne say, "Oh, you think you that must make Cat weak. You're not going to make me. It doesn't make me weak." What did he say to her?
He mocked her. He was like, "Oh, I'm Roxanne and I don't want to talk about this. I'm just going to leave." She was just like, "Nigga, that shit might intimidate Cat. That don't do nothing to me. You're not going to play me."
And then he said, "I'm sure it does." And then she got pissed. She's like, "I'm out." But yeah.
So then after that scene, you see Antonio has finished his sprint and he shows up to the door sweating. And she's like, "Oh my God, did you run all the way here?" He's like, "Yeah." And then they hug. I'm like,
I love you. I love you too. I'm like, I was like, okay, this is where I was like, okay, Roxanne. She like, she's not just dogging him. This is all a lie.
She was like, "I didn't say that. Like, he's lying to you. I didn't say that. Whatever." It's a very short clip. And then he's like, "We should just leave the show. We don't need this shit. We don't need it." And she's like,
"I'm about to lose my girl. I ain't about it."
She was like, "Yeah, no, we're gonna stay.
Yeah,
I want to finish this out.
Yeah, I'm still learning from this experience." So
she should. And what did he say? "No, you're right. You're completely right.
You're right. I do whatever you say. Let's do it."
Just a freaking whipping boy. So that's really kind of how episode 4 through 6. We talked about all the couples, right?
Yeah. So now
that's how episode 4 through 6 goes. And so now we are at the point where everybody's at this dinner. So once again, we're at the dinner. The first time we were there, it was to see who was going to be your trial partner. Now it's
they've been together for 3 weeks, and now they're basically going to swap back to their original partner.
Yeah. Right. So now they're another 3 weeks. Okay. So now they're like concluding out their experience. They're talking as a group, and then they're going to go do their marriage with their original partner who they came with. Yeah. So I'm trying to think of like really anything interesting from that conversation. Like everybody kind of talked about what their experience was.
Trey has said he's catching feelings for Ryan. No, and then Raya heard that. Raya said like,
yeah, and she was like,
no.
Yeah, and so her feelings were like, I just don't know how I'm going to continue on and like do a marriage with you when I know you have feelings for somebody else. Like, I just don't understand how I'm supposed to feel, how I'm supposed to go forward, which is understandable. But like, that's what the experiment was for. So I think that she's just going to have to like get over it. And I also think if she would have had a good experience with James, it would be different.
Yeah.
Or like, I honestly think if Brian would have stayed and she had an experience with Brian, it might have been very different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm trying to think who else said stuff. Roxanne and Antonio basically called out Alex.
Yeah, she did. She was like, "Did I say that?" He was like, "Why do you keep going to this?" I said, "In my opinion," and then she was like, "Thank you."
Exactly.
Like,
and then Cat's over in the corner, like, but why would he lie? Like, why would his parents lie?
Just like, "Thank you. I did not say that," or whatever. But
yeah, and that's whenever he was like, "Yeah, I said it, and I say it again."
just a jerk. Just asshole.
Just wants chaos.
Just wasting time on the show. But
wasting everybody's time. But so that
Antonio said
so then we also see James say like basically the day him and his partner were separated, he was like, he realized that was the one. And Vanessa was like, so 7 years you didn't notice, one day she's with somebody else you noticed? Like, I just don't understand like how that makes sense. But he said when it was time for them to go, he said scooped up his girl. I went back and watched it.
You watched it? You scoop up his girl. My boy said, I'm glad to have you back. And which I called, I was like, they're gonna come back and it's like Ryan's gonna take them back. She just wanted to wake up his eyes and like I could get anybody. He was like, I realized, she can get any of these guys. I need my girl back. But
yeah, and I wish they didn't really show Trey's face when he picked her up because I think they were kind of all leaving at different times.
Yeah, I think Trey hugged Ryan before they dipped, and that was that. But James did hug Raya. James hugged Raya and was like, and Raya was like, oh, I get another hug. Yeah, he was like, last hug, divorce hug. I was like, you childish boy, childish.
Yeah, and I do think like I'm trying to think of how it's going to go forward because I do think that Roxanne and Antonio are going to get on a good page and be like, okay, we realize why we like each other. And while I do think, I was trying to think about this, I was like, Roxanne really doesn't want somebody who's as busy as her. Because if they're as busy as her, they can't be on her beck and call like somebody like Antonio. She really couldn't handle somebody who was as busy as her.
Alex, yeah.
That would frustrate her. She needs somebody who's like makes good money, but is not maybe not on the same level as her, so that she can still feel in control.
In other words, she's just looking for ambition. Just somebody who's you don't gotta be
even if you ain't got it. Exactly.
Like just be ambitious towards something. We ain't gonna lie around for 6 years and be high off shrooms.
Yeah.
So it's like you just gotta have ambition, and she's just looking for that. It's like, okay, she saw the ambition in Alex, but then she still wasn't getting the soft, maybe the things that Antonio does do, the soft things or whatever. So, but that was an interesting episode. We kind of saw Raya afterwards not having it with Trey, basically, when they got back to the apartment. So now they're back living together.
And that was the only scene that they showed us, like living back together. The only scene that they gave us was Trey and Raya.
Yeah, I think
before the episode ended.
Yeah, Trey and Ryan.
Raya.
Or Trey and Raya, and she was just basically like, I don't think things will ever be the same. It's like, you're just ready to marry me. How are you like catching feelings for somebody? I don't see myself catching feelings that fast for somebody, which is like, who knows? But she was just like, and he's like, we can talk, like we can work through this, we can talk about it. Like, you don't understand me because you didn't go through an experience. But we'll see. She's turning up a little bit. Her vibe is this is the Raya that I knew she was capable of being. It's not too wild, but it's not the soft spoken girl we saw first of all. Now we see who she really
My thing is, she's been missing the intimacy and connection for the past 3 weeks. I think that as soon as Trey shows her a little bit of something razzle dazzle, she's gonna be like, okay,
and she said it. She was like, here I am thinking my experience is sucking, and all I could think is like, I want to be back with you, and you're catching. Like, she said that, so she realized, like, when she told her, she was like, oh, like I was wanting to get back with you. That's how I was feeling because my experience wasn't good. So. But then this happened, so I don't know. We'll see. She'll probably show like she's fronting. Maybe she'll just be like, okay, you just need to show me a little bit of. But she's also the one that don't want to get married, so I don't know. She's still got to get her life back together. So she say,
yeah, she's confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just missed him. She just needs to get over the jealousy, and then she'll be fine. But yeah,
right now,
that's really it. That's the week.
Who do you see yourself doing the experiment with now, at this point?
Knowing what I know now?
Yeah, knowing what you know now. You said you go, I guess Trey.
Probably Trey's the only one that's even slightly like doable. And even that, I would just be like, okay.
I think you're funny. I think yourself together, and it's like, you're the same person that advocates, if you know, you know. And it shouldn't take that long. And if you have your money together and somebody just love me for me, that's all Trey wants. And it's like, you'll be like,
but okay. I would be, the way he fell so fast, I would just not think it was real. And I would be like, as soon as you go back to your girl, you're going to be all back into her. So I'm not going to like, it doesn't feel real to me. It just feels like you fall for anybody quick. So like, even if I vibed with him, I wouldn't put my heart into being like, oh, we're gonna be together after this. I would just be like, if we're cool after this, then we're cool. But I'm not gonna be like, oh, I want to be with Trey type shit.
Yeah. I feel
And
like
you would be with who I said you would be with,
yeah,
Roxanne.
It'll be Roxanne.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be Roxanne. I saw a
That's
little
what I
more
said.
spice, but it was like it wasn't down talk. I was thinking she'll be down talk when she was like, I respect this man. I respect
the hell out of him.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was like, okay, yeah, Roxanne, she's real. She's real. And she was just telling Alex, like, why can't you just be real? Like,
Yeah.
she was like, I was like, okay, yeah. But
yeah, he's like a psycho. Like, I feel like he strikes as one of those people that would like murder somebody and then just go about his day like a normal person. Like, he's just like crazy stale face, just like says shit to stir it up. But like, he doesn't get hot. Like, he doesn't get emotional about it. He's just like, yeah, I said it. And what? Yeah, I did it. And what?
I saw my business. And what? But this was a better review.
Yeah, still 40 minutes, but I think we talked about everybody. It ebbed and flowed well, so I'm excited to see what's going to happen. And these 4, 6, I think we've got 2 more episodes that are already posted, and then we're going to get the final 2 in about a week. So we'll be back to continue our review as soon as we get through watching them. All right. You did. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe.
Yes. We out.